And I'm about to take you on a journey across the ghostly plains of good old Blighty in search of Britain's most haunted watering hole. Later in the programme, the very scary Stuart Horreville and I will be travelling south to London to investigate the Brockley Jack. But we start up north to take a look at the historic Moon Inn.
My name's Claire and I'm the landlady here at the Moon Inn in Stony Middleton. When I was a child in my grand's house, I believe I saw fairies. And I was in a cot at the time and they lifted my cot and moved it across the room. So, and I still have that memory quite vivid in my mind to this day. So that was like something that I couldn't explain, really.
I'm Ben. I'm the landlord anyway of the premises. The original Moon Inn was just over the road, behind one of the buildings that you can see out of the window. And that was the original one where a Scottish peddler was actually murdered, according to local history. But some say he's sort of moved himself over to this premises now. So once we've moved here with the locals, we've found out a lot more of the history and a lot more than you would just, you know, on the internet. The people have got their own personal stories from the village. A lady who owned this pub who was in the other week, she mentioned that in the kitchen, her mum could feel his light presence in the kitchen and used to sort of speak to him and tell him to get off, sort of a thing. And a few people have mentioned, you know, they've actually seen him like in like almost pedal pushers and a bowler hat. But you know, I've not yet seen him myself yet, but people do say that there is some presence here, yes. You never know what's gone on in a place before it was what it was as well. You know, that happened at the Moon over the road, but who's to say something didn't, you know, there's not any bad vibes here, should I say, from, you know, previous times. We had a guy who used to live here for 3 years, and he said he never detected anything in here, and, you know, he didn't believe it, basically. But then a guy who'd lived here for 18 was like, well, I've seen him and he's real, and he scared me suitably, you know.
One person who was in last week who saw a guy with a knife in his chest going through one of the walls. She ran across the road to the hairdressers and was totally spooked out by it and wouldn't come back in the building for a while. So there's that, and there's loads of stories that locals have told us about various things that have gone on. So. I had a sleepless night last week when it sounded like there was somebody outside our bedroom walking up and down the landing. One
of those silly things where Claire said, you know, can you hear something outside, you know, like someone trying to get in?
And I just thought, oh, it's the building creaking, there's no one out there. But it carried on for a few hours. And I sort of nudged Ben, and Ben was awake and he could hear it as well.
And you know, then you lie awake and you can hear every noise possible, but you do hear, like, you know, floorboards creaking and everything like that.
But we couldn't explain it. I mean, the building does creak, but there was just too much creaking going on for it to just be the building. That kept me awake, and I was quite nervous, and I couldn't get back to sleep that night. You never know whether it's your mind sort of playing tricks with you, you know, when you sort of see things out the corner of your eye. And the noises here are phenomenal. There is a lot of noises go on, especially when you're here on your own and you know there can't be an explanation for you know, what sounds like someone walking on the floorboards, you know, and so yeah, it's quite weird.
But one thing that sort of did happen since we've been here, I was round the front of the bar and there was 3 locals in, I was chatting away to them, and all of a sudden there was a smash. I came round to the other side of the bar and there was a smashed glass on the floor, which I originally thought was my partner Claire who dropped something. And you know, you don't think anything else of it, so you know, I started sweeping it up and looked at what glass it was. It was like a medium-sized wine glass, which are only on one shelf, and the shelf was completely full. it was like the glass had appeared from nowhere, sort of thing. I mean, you know, there's always an explanation for everything, isn't there, if you look deep enough, but, you know, apparently it just appeared like it was from nowhere.
There was another story last week. A lady came in who used to live here, and she told me the story about the light over there on the wall. Her mother was locking up one night. She was in the pub on her own, and she heard a screwing noise, and she looked sort of around the pub to see if there was anyone in. No one was here. And then the light bulb out of the fitting over there unscrewed itself, rose up, sort of hovered, and then dropped down on the bench seating. And she called her daughter, who came down I think she tried to get her to go and get the light bulb, and her daughter was like, I'm not getting it, I'm not going anywhere near it, sort of thing. So, and she told us that her mother had seen a ghost here. Obviously they lived here for quite a long time. She described a ghost in one of the bedrooms upstairs, and also he was in the catering kitchen in the corner a few times. She just used to tell him to go away and, oh, what are you still doing here? You know, we don't want you here, go away, sort of thing. I think because there's such a social mecca, you know, you've had a lot of characters, a lot of different personalities pass through. You do every day, you have so many personalities pass through, that out of all those people that enter into pubs, I suppose, there's going to be one or two who are going to sort of leave their mark, I think. So that's probably what makes it more haunted over, you know, like houses or other buildings.
As long as you can get on with whatever's anyway, you'll be fine, won't you? If there is anything, you know, untoward here, then, you know, you just leave it to it.
It's quite exciting living somewhere that is renowned for being haunted. I find it quite exciting.
Join us after the break for another round of Wines and Spirits. Hello and welcome back to Wines and Spirits. Thank you very much for staying with us. And here we have another pub with many tales of terror to keep you on the edge of your seats.